What's up, yo? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast, where we teach you the cheat codes of the game of life. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and I hope you're doing great wherever you are. And I'm happy to bring you an episode which is a re-release, an oldie but a goodie, which deals with building habits. And I'm going to start with a quote that goes, "People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures." F.M. Alexander. Now, when I tell people about my podcast and they ask me what's a good episode to start with, I always had the same answer, which is my episodes on building habits. And the reason why is because knowing how to build good habits will change your life. Now, when I was fresh out of college, my mom bought me a book called $1 Million Habits. It's by a guy named Brian Tracy, and it's a great book. And an even greater thought, that your habits will determine your wealth. But they don't just determine your wealth, they determine your happiness as well. And recently, as I've talked about happiness, I keep saying, go back and listen to my episodes about building habits. And because of that, I decided to re-release them. Now, a lot of people look back at their first episodes with a lot of shame because the episodes aren't very good. And of course, they're not going to be good when you first start, but that's how you get started. But I myself, I'm actually pretty proud of my first episodes, and here's why. When I first started my podcast, I got the advice to record 5 episodes before I launched it, so that's what I did. Now, after I had those first 5 episodes recorded, and I was ready to launch, I listened to them, and I just wasn't satisfied with them. Now, I heard this story back in the day about Toy Story 2 being completed, and then the people at Pixar Films watched it, and they realized it wasn't a good movie. So they remade the movie from scratch within months of the release. So when my first 5 episodes were recorded, I looked at them the same way that the creators of Toy Story looked at Toy Story 2, and I decided I needed to redo them, and I actually launched my podcast months after I had planned to. And I personally don't regret that because I wanted to launch with quality and I wanted to be very proud of my episodes. So here are my episodes on building habits. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and today's episode is about building habits. Now, this is a true story. When I was in 6th grade, a friend of mine came over to my house, and when I had my back turned on him, he stuck a taser gun right in my kidney area, and he shocked me for a second. But it's all good, though, because I got my revenge on him when I went to his house, and I burned it down. I thought his family would really get a kick out of it, but I was wrong. Now, my body did not like that shock. My body does not like shock, and neither does yours. Shocking your body and your mind is when you bring a sudden change in your lifestyle that you're not used to. Years ago, I used to mentor this young man, and we were going to this event, and I picked us up some breakfast, and as we were driving, I said, "Hey, man, have some breakfast." And he was like, "Nah, man, I don't eat breakfast." And I'm like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Every time I eat breakfast, I get a headache." And I was like, "Well, what do you usually eat for breakfast?" And he was like, like a Grand Slam from Denny's. And I was like, hold on. You're telling me that you go from 0 calories in the morning to over 1,000 calories, and you expect your body to just be fine with it? Of course you're going to get a headache. Of course you're going to feel sick because you are shocking your body. So the advice I gave to him is the same advice I'm giving to you if you don't eat breakfast. Start with an apple. Start with an apple. Eat an apple every morning for an entire week. And then go an apple and a slice of toast for a week. And then go an apple and 2 slices of toast for a week. And then add 1 egg. And then add another egg. And then add 3 eggs. And the next thing you know, you're going to be eating a full course breakfast in the morning, but only by starting small and adding little by little. And that's how you're going to be successful in changing any of your habits, by starting small and adding little by little. Remember this phrase, 2 minutes to win it. 2 minutes to win it. What does that mean? If you want to start a habit, just start doing it for 2 minutes. If you want to start jogging for 2 minutes. If you want to start cleaning your room, clean your room for 2 minutes. If you can't clean for 2, just clean for 1. It's not about the amount of time that you're doing it. It's about being consistent, daily if you can. And on a sheet of paper, write this phrase: some beats none. Some beats none. Basically what that means is doing a little bit of a habit beats doing nothing every single time. Experts say that in order to build the habit of flossing your teeth, what you gotta do is start flossing up once between two teeth in order to start building the habit. And if you only have two teeth, boom, you're done. It's not about how much you do, it's about starting small, starting so small that you can't fail. If you want to start waking up earlier, don't start by trying to wake up 30 minutes earlier all at once. Your body will not like that, and you'll just crash and burn and go back to sleep. Instead, start by waking up 1 minute earlier every single day. In 1 week, you'll end up waking up 5 minutes earlier if you exclude the weekends. In 6 weeks, you'll end up waking up 30 minutes earlier. In 1 year, you'll end up waking up 4 hours earlier. And in 2 years, you won't even need to sleep at all. Now, these are jokes, of course, but that's how you're going to end up waking up earlier, by starting small and building up from there. All this is based off a technique that helped the Japanese auto industry become a powerhouse. It's called the Kaizen method, and part of it has to do with getting 1% better every day, doing 1% more every day. Can you do that? Of course you can. Because here's reality. Every single day on January 1st, the gym is packed. All the machines are taken, the energy's super high. And the reason why is people enter the gym and they say, "New year, new me. New year, new me." But on January 15th, if you go to the gym, it's emptied out. Because the truth isn't new year, new me, but new year, old habits. And that's why you got to change yours. Because when people go from 0 minutes of exercise a day to 30 minutes up to an hour, they just burn out. Instead, you got to start small by doing 2 to 5 minutes, up to 10 minutes, up to 20 minutes, and beyond. And you'll get to the beyond, but you just got to get into the habit and trust the process. And put cues in your environment to remind you to practice your habits. If you're trying to start lifting weights, put a 20-pound dumbbell somewhere you're going to see it every single day. As a matter of fact, take that 20-pound dumbbell, put it on top of your toilet seat at night so that when you wake up in the morning, you have to lift weights just to use the restroom. Now, I'm totally kidding. Don't do that, especially if you live with the elderly, unless grandma's got some serious guns on her and her biceps put yours to shame. If you want to start being regular with your laundry, take your laundry bag, put it right in the middle of your bedroom at nighttime so that when you get home, it's sitting right there in front of your face and it's reminding you time to do the laundry. Or let's say you want to start exercising in the morning. Some people actually sleep in their workout clothes. Then, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to see that you're in your workout clothes and it's going to remind you to go work out. And on top of that, if you don't go work out, you're going to feel like a complete schlub and that'll motivate you to go work out. Let's say you want to start exercising in the afternoon. Then make sure you go by a park or the gym on the way home to remind you it's time to work out. Let's say you want to start eating vegetables so you can lose weight. What you're going to do is you're going to take your vegetables from the bottom drawer, put them right at eye level in front of all the other food to remind you, hey, you got to eat your vegetables. And you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to remember to do all this? Use reminders on your phone to start doing the habits that you're trying to build. That's what I have on my phone. Every Sunday at 8 p.m., take out the trash. Every day at 3 p.m., charge your phone. Every Monday morning, clip your nose hairs. Now I'm kidding about that last one, but I do use reminders to remind me of all the things that I need to do in order to be successful. Because here's the deal. Your phone is a tool, and you have to use it to help you to do the things that are going to change your life. Now, that's all I got for this time. There will be a part 2 episode to building habits. But until next time, peace! Welcome to the Young Legends Podcast. I'm your host, Caption, a.k.a. Caption Red. And this is a part 2 episode on habits, which is a lot like part 2 of the Avengers Infinity series in the sense that it's better than part 1 and it's going to make me $2 billion, give or take $2 billion. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to your kitchen and get an ice cream scoop and eat anything out of that ice cream scoop besides ice cream. Here's what's going to happen. 2 things. Number 1, the whole time you're going to be thinking about ice cream. And number 2, you'll probably end up going to get some ice cream. Now, here's why you'll be thinking about ice cream the whole time you're eating whatever it is you're eating. Because your brain links certain items to certain activities or certain things. In the same way, your brain links certain places with certain activities. So because of that, do you know where the worst place in the world to study is? In the front of a roller coaster. Do you know where the second worst place to study is? In the back of a squad car. Because that whole time, you're going to be either thinking about reaching for the sky or about making better choices. Now, besides those 2 places, the worst place to study is in front of your sofa, on your recliner, those places where you watch TV and veg out and play video games. Because what's going to happen as you're sitting there, your brain is going to link sitting in that chair, sitting in that area with vegging out, playing video games, watching movies, and so forth. So instead of sitting there and studying, what you need to do is get out of there like someone just farted and it was really you and you're trying to pretend like it wasn't you. You need to go to the library. If you can't get to the library, go to a coffee shop. If you can't do that, go to another room or the patio. And if you can't leave that room, then at least sit in a different chair. And make sure that chair is faced away from the TV and all the other distractions in that room. You could actually designate a chair, which from now on will be your study chair, your practicing guitar chair, and it can literally be 5 feet away from your lounging area, and it will make a difference. Now, here's a little secret about me that I'm going to share with you. I am lazy. You are lazy. People are lazy. And this developed back when we were hunter-gatherers. During the Stone Age, there was no such thing as Golden Corral. There were no buffets. Food was scarce. In order to eat, you had to, guess what? Hunt and gather. And people didn't know where their next meal was going to come from, so they had to conserve their calories. Because of this, laziness is in your DNA. This shows when you're at the store and you're at the register and you buy stuff right at the register. But that exact same item 20 feet away, you'd be like, nah, I'm good. That's what I do unless it's Nutella. Then I'm willing to walk because Nutella is like crack for me. Now, just for the record, I've never tried crack, but I do have an understanding of how it works. What I'm saying is, don't smoke crack, kids. Now, laziness is the reason why you pick your nose so much, because it's right in front of your face. But imagine that your nose was on your foot. Then in order to pick your nose, you'd have to take off your shoe, you'd have to take off your sock, you'd have to reach all the way down there to get in there. And because of that, you would pick your nose a lot less, but you would go on a lot more dates. In physics, friction is anything that slows down a moving object. With habits, friction is anything that slows you down from practicing your habit, whether it's an extra step or a barrier. See, here's the deal. I used to buy cauliflower. But in order to eat cauliflower, there are so many steps that you have to go through in order to eat it. First, I got to tear open the bag. Then I got to wash it. Then I got to cut it. Then I got to saute it because I'm not eating it raw. That's disgusting. Then I have to let it cool. Then I have to put it in Tupperware. So instead, what I would usually do is let it rot in my fridge and then throw it in the trash. But now what I do is I eat baby carrots. Because with baby carrots, there's no friction involved. You just tear the bag open and you eat them. So if you're trying to start eating healthy, you have to start buying food that's very low on friction. Make sure to use your natural laziness to your advantage. So if you're trying to do more pull-ups, leave your pull-up bar up in the doorway so you don't have to put it up every single time. If you're trying to do more yoga, leave your yoga mat unrolled. If you're trying to start eating breakfast, eat a banana. They require zero prep. All you got to do is peel and eat. And leave it on top of your bag at nighttime so you won't forget it in the morning. Also, in order to build habits, pick things that are attractive or appealing to you. If you're trying to eat more veggies, pick ones that you like. And if you have to dip a little bit of ranch, that's fine, but don't go too crazy with it, otherwise you're defeating the purpose. Or if you're trying to exercise, pick activities that you like. And while you do this, listen to music that you like. And if possible, do it with people that you like. Maybe you can combine all these things together and go play some basketball while eating a piece of corn on the cob while listening to J. Cole with your crush. Now that's what I call winning. But as you do these things, just remember this. Whatever you incorporate into your habit, make sure that it doesn't take away from the end goal of what you're trying to accomplish. So, listening to Kendrick Lamar while you're studying, probably not a good idea. But listening to him while you're exercising is. And remember this, your loud and boisterous friend, the one that gets all turned up out in public, is a terrible person to study with. Leave them at their house. And as you make it easy and take away the friction, as you make it attractive, make sure that you're also being accountable. Accountability is this big word that means being responsible to answering to someone. And the most important person to be accountable to is yourself. And as you do, remember this phrase. In order to make gains, don't break the chain. In order to make gains, don't break the chain. Now, there's this guy named Jerry Seinfeld. You may have heard of him. He owns 150 Porsches. He is worth $900 million, all self-made. And the way he made his money and became famous is through his TV show. But before he became famous on TV, he got his start in stand-up comedy. Now, here's what he did. He took a calendar, he ripped it all apart, and he taped up the calendar on the wall so he could see all 12 months. And every single day, he forced himself to write another joke. And he did this every single day for 365 days, making sure not to break the chain. And he did this year after year, and eventually he became a successful comedian. Now, you can do the same thing. You can rip up a calendar, put all 12 months up against the wall. If you can't get to a calendar, then print one off the internet. If you can't print one off the internet, then make one with paper and pen. Sometimes you just got to be really resourceful. And if you don't want to do this, then get a habit tracking app. I have one on my phone. It's called Habit Bull. That's Bull. It's on iOS and Android. It's amazing. It helps keep me on track. And it does a lot of what the calendar on the wall will do for you. Also, be accountable to your friends. Maybe you can create a buddy system where you and one of your friends hold each other accountable and you talk about whatever goals that you're accomplishing and you help each other along the way. Also, use social media. As long as you don't have an addiction to social media and you're trying to break the habit of getting on there, then use social media to keep you accountable. I have a friend on Instagram that does this every single day. Every single day, I see that she's been on the treadmill for 30 minutes. It shows me her stats and everything, and that's how she keeps herself accountable with exercise. Maybe you don't want to put your stats up there. Maybe that's a little too personal. Instead, what you can do on your Instagram or Snapchat story, take a picture of your workout shoes. Take a picture of what you're eating. Have video of you playing guitar. Show them the new song that you're learning. Show them the new chords that you're learning. Social media is all about bragging, and you can brag about the positive things that you're doing and hold yourself accountable through it. Whatever you do, don't be pool selfie girl. One time I was at the pool, and this young lady shows up in her swimsuit. She takes 5 or 6 photos, and then she leaves. It was so lame. I was like, what are you doing with yourself? This is exactly what's wrong with social media, the fake life. Don't make a fake life for yourself, and don't be pool selfie girl. Another way to practice accountability is to have someone waiting for you to practice a habit. I did this last summer, and it made me a consistent runner. See, I hate jogging. I hate it with a passion. But I made a deal with a friend of mine that I would meet him at the park at 7:30 every morning. And because I did not want to be a bad friend, I got myself out of bed, and I ended up at the park, and I ran. If it weren't for my friend, I honestly would hit the alarm and go back to sleep. So set up some sort of schedule where you'll be disappointing someone you care about, or you'll be losing something by not practicing your habit, and do something that's going to wreck your conscience. Therefore, you will end up doing it. And when it comes to practicing new habits, focus on your identity, not your goals. You want to know why? Because you won't progress fast enough to see the immediate results that you want, because we all want immediate results. But guess what? Losing 20 pounds doesn't happen overnight. Gaining 20 pounds doesn't happen overnight. Becoming an expert at something doesn't happen overnight. And therefore, because this stuff takes time, you're highly likely to quit before you end up capturing your goal. Instead, focus on your identity. What I mean by that is this. You need to start having a new conversation with yourself where you start saying to yourself things like, I am a runner. I am a healthy eater. I am a musician. I am a weightlifter. You're creating a new identity inside of yourself with the words that you're saying to yourself. See, words are powerful. If you sit here and say, I'm a foodie, I'm a fatty, I'm a couch potato, guess what? You're going to act like one. Words are powerful. The words that you say to yourself, the words that have been spoken over your life are very powerful. And because of that, we need to start having a new conversation with ourselves to form a new identity. And as you do all these things and make these changes, remember you are not perfect and that you're not a robot. Even professional athletes, professional bodybuilders end up having slip-ups, and a lot of times they'll work them into their routine so they won't lose their minds. It's not about making drastic changes, because if you try to make drastic changes, know that you're going to go crazy. Instead, it's about incremental changes, like the things that you learned about in the Kaizen method. So don't beat yourself up when you mess up. That's the last thing that you should do. Instead, just focus on becoming better every day. Also, one last thing about building habits. As you progress, make sure that if you reward yourself, the reward that you give yourself will not take you off track of your goals. So if you're running to lose weight, you ran 7 miles, you come home, and then you eat an entire pizza, you're defeating the purpose. That reward is not a good reward to give yourself, because then you're not going to end up making any progress. Or don't eat 15 pieces of chocolate as a reward for eating healthy. You can eat 1 or 2 pieces. You're not a robot. But the way you should reward yourself is with things that will help you to do more of the habit that you're trying to pick up. For example, if you're running and you've been consistent for a couple months of running, buy yourself a nice new pair of running shoes that will get you to run even more. Or if you're learning how to play the guitar and you've been consistently practicing every day for 6 months, then buy yourself a new set of strings or buy yourself a better guitar that will get you to playing the guitar even more. All right, so that's all I got for this episode of Building Habits. The next episode is actually going to be about breaking habits, so I look forward to sharing some really good stuff about that. And until next time, peace out. All right, so that's the re-release of my episodes on building habits. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope that they were helpful. And I hope you start taking action to building habits that will change your life. If you are enjoying this podcast, please rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. That's very helpful in getting the word out and giving credibility to what I'm doing. All right, so that's all I got for this time. Remember to start small, to stay consistent, and to use the strategies that I laid out in this episode. And until next time, peace!